South Padre Island to Rio Grande City, this is Local 23 News at 5.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Brenda Medina. All eyes on our part of South Texas as Hanna approaches the Texas coastline. Our chief meteorologist, Robert Bettis, is standing by now to tell us more. Robert, you've been warning us about this storm.
Brenda, this is turning into a worst-case scenario. This slow-churning Hanna has time to strengthen, and according to the National Hurricane Center, it will become a Cat 1 hurricane before slamming into the Texas coastline about 20 miles south of Corpus Christi midday tomorrow, and that's going to have dramatic impacts on the Rio Grande Valley. We need to prepare for flooding. Flooding is going to be the main event for us, and it is the Upper Valley, Starr County, and Ranch Country that I'm most concerned about. Right now, the winds are at 65 miles per hour. It is expected to reach that hurricane level right there just south of Corpus Christi as it breaks apart slowly over the weekend out toward Zapata. Well, if you're out in Starr County, or you're in Ranch Country, or in Willacy County around Raymondville, down toward McAllen, you've got a chance of some tremendously heavy rainfall. In some places, as much as 12 inches of rain. Ironically, the island looking in the best position to weather this storm. I'm going to have full details coming up in just a little bit. Brenda.
A very dangerous storm. All right, Robert, thank you. Right now, dozens of hotels in the Rio Grande Valley, including the Mercedes Dome, preparing to shelter flood victims. That's where we find Local 23's Joanna Guzman with the details on Hidalgo County and the city's plan. Joanna.
Brenda, Mercedes recently approved for the dome to be used to treat COVID patients. Tonight, they tell us it will be used for shelter during the storm, but not everyone is allowed inside.
Our dome shelter, which is on North Vermont, but that shelter is only going to be utilized for positive COVID patients or citizens, or anybody that is or has been around any COVID citizen or has been tested or is waiting results.
Mercedes Fire Chief Javier Campos Jr. says local schools will be available for those who are not sick.
Our second shelter is going to be at the Chacon Middle School, which is located on South Malwan East. And that shelter is going to be for the citizens themselves, and that's going to be manned by the American Red Cross, which we have an MOU in place with them.
The school has 5 buses that will be mobilizing residents if needed. Campos says both shelters will continue to practice social distancing.
So we will have our cots that are separate, and we'll have chairs that are separate, so we'll be maintaining that social distancing throughout.
The capacity at Mercedes Dome is over 300, but due to the pandemic, it's limiting to 78 people. The South Texas American Red Cross says there's more options.
And families needing shelter would be then sent or put in hotels temporarily.
Executive Director Dr. David Luna says there are over 40 hotels across the Rio Grande Valley ready to house residents until it's safe to return to their homes.
If there's not enough hotel rooms available, we would make sure that ensure that there's at least like maybe half of the number of people can go in these big buildings in order to minimize any contact.
Meanwhile, Hidalgo County has activated emergency operation mode.
Everybody has been put on alert. All our emergency equipment, which high-profile vehicles or rescue boats with our municipalities and with our state partners, are all been engaged in the sense of preparedness and ready to mobilize at the time that need be.
The county's emergency management coordinator, Ricardo Saldaña, says although the county has 10 rescue boats ready to deploy, he urges residents to self-evacuate early.
The deal is everybody's already been instructed to follow, make sure that they have disposable facial coverings in their boats or in their rescue vehicles, just in case of those individuals that we rescue do not have any type of facial covering, that they can provide some.
If you're looking for shelter, you may call 1-800-RED Cross or 211 for locations. Officials urge you to clean out any debris or branches blocking any drainage systems. Working for you in Mercedes, I'm Joanna Guzman.
All right, Joanna, thank you. One of the areas that is projected to get hit with at least 4 to 6 inches of rain is Raymondville. People have been filling up their sandbags across from Raymondville City Hall for the past couple of hours. City buildings have already been prepared with sandbags, and right now an emergency order has been signed by county officials, closing down the Willacy County portion of South Padre Island, which is beach access number 5 and 6. They're now asking everyone to prepare for the worst.
We're just assuming that we're going to be ground zero and make that set that up as our response. So we getting ready for flooding. Obviously, when you're expecting 6 to 12 inches of rain, we want everybody to get ready now.
Tonight at 10, we'll have more on which areas county officials are warning people to stay away from, as there are high probabilities of being stranded and stuck without power. Cameron County also preparing for strong rainfall and possible flooding. With COVID-19 also at the forefront, Judge Eddie Trevino says there's a new set of struggles. Storm preparations usually take place in April or May. And because of the pandemic, Judge Trevino says there hasn't been much time for people to get prepared.
Maybe some people probably haven't paid enough attention to it, but because a lot of people have been staying at home, hopefully they've already got a lot of the hurricane preparedness items that we would normally request them to have.
Trevino hopes everyone stays indoors during the storm, but also to stop the spread of the virus. Sandbag distributions are taking place all throughout the county. The full list of Sandbag distribution locations can be found on valleycentral.com. We continue our severe weather team coverage with Local 23's Jeremiah Wilcox. He joins us live from Ed Couch, where they're dealing with low manpower to clear debris from floodways. Jeremiah.
That's right. Crews are working to clear out debris from floodways that can create major flooding here in Ed Couch. But I'm going to step to the side because you can see right behind me there are people who are filling up bags. The city says today they filled up about 600 bags here, but the city also says it lost 20% of staff because of the virus that made keeping flood-prone areas safe a lot harder. Now over here in the canals, now if they aren't clean, could flood homes in the area. This area is just one of the areas that was hit the hardest last year, and the homes in the far behind me were hit with major flooding, causing thousands of dollars of damage. Now coming in tonight at 10, I'll show you how they're prepping for rain and to deal and how they're dealing with less manpower on the street. Working for you in Ed Couch, I'm Jeremiah Wilcox.
All right, Jeremiah, thank you. The City of Edinburg launching a new stimulus grant program called Spark to help struggling businesses. City leaders are looking to help the Edinburg economy during the devastating pandemic. The City Council unanimously approved over $2 million from the CARES Act for Edinburg small businesses and residents that experience hardship during this pandemic. The deadline to apply is July 22nd. For more information, head on over to our website and click on this story. The Texas Homeschool Coalition says they are seeing a dramatic increase of parents interested in homeschooling their children. The Texas Homeschool Coalition is the largest statewide advocacy organization in the country and have been on the front lines protecting the rights of parents to homeschool since the 90s. The nonprofit also provides education to families interested in homeschooling. Their website explains the legalities, how to get started, and how to choose a curriculum. We spoke with Tim Lambert, president of the Texas Homeschool Coalition, who says parents have a lot of questions about the upcoming school year, adding that within the past couple of weeks, their call volume has tripled.
Does that impact children? Does it not impact children? Do children pass that on? And then there's a lot of uncertainty about what the schools are going to do. You know, are they going to have online stuff? Are they going to do in person? What does that look like? Are they going to require masks?
He says parents need to do what's best for their children and remember it's not a permanent decision. Students must withdraw from their school and choose a curriculum. The organization does have a tool on their website that will even generate a withdrawal letter that you can submit to your school.
I'm Morgan Red in Washington. Coming up, how Congress is addressing the mental health stigma in the military.
Then it's been 3 months since the expected start date for the Houston Astros. A big pause on the sports world, but now they're back.
Hanna is strengthening, expected to become a hurricane before striking just south of Corpus Christi. Where is Hanna headed, and why is the Upper Valley in danger of receiving the most rainfall? I'm going to have your detailed forecast, and you're watching Local 23 News at 5.
You're watching Local 23 News with anchor Brenda Medina and Chief Meteorologist Robert Bettis.